you might have already been able to work out, there's a lot of cars I'm passionate about, but I'm particularly passionate about Swedish cars, Saabs in particular. But look at this. Look at this, a duo of two of the finest Scandinavian cars you'll see anywhere, with a man who's a bit of a genius when it comes to preparing classic rally cars. Doug, it's great to see you. Very briefly, last time I saw you, you were in a beautiful Quattro. It's not here because you had a wee bingo. Just tell me what happened, very briefly.
Well, unfortunately, we had a typical Group B type accident. We just clipped a rock on the inside of the road, tore the front wheel off, which damaged, the car. So the problem is not that the damage extensive, it's just that the parts are so hard to get, and so we've been waiting patiently.
Well, I tell you what, so he's had to leave the Quattro back home in the workshop, so he's brought the two next best things. Tell me about these cars. They are, particularly this Volvo I love. I'm a huge Saab man as well, though. There's obviously clearly links with the World Rally Championship, but there's a lot of links in terms of the drivers as well, isn't there?
Absolutely. So this is a Volvo PV544. This is a replica of the 1965 Safari winning car. Now, because I was so interested in Group B, every Group B driver of the 80s started out in one of these two cars.
Why was that, do you think? Was it to do with their drivability, the fact you had to master your driving technique you could develop in them?
Yes, absolutely. So you really had to drive these things. And as you know, these Saabs are very famous with the Swedes, and they used to tip them over and they could roll them back on their wheels, and they just go everywhere and they just keep going.
It's incredible. And this thing here, I have to say, I've not seen too many of these in the past. It's quite a rare car, I would imagine, because I've not seen really many of them, if any, around.
It is a very rare car. So this one's rare. This is rockin' horse shit to try to find, so they're impossible to find. And so I had to find a very rusty one and bring it back to life. So we've saved the car from the scrap.
And you found that here in Australia?
Found it in Australia, and as far as we know, there's maybe 4 or 5. That's all that's in Australia.
There are many things that are great about historic rallying, but one is the point you just hit on there, the fact that you are saving cars that were more or less, they were already in the scrap heap, never mind destined for the scrap heap. In this condition, they'll be going in another 50 years.
Absolutely. So this one's probably in better condition than it was 25 years ago. So.
That's phenomenal. Tell me about the Saab though, Doug. It's the livery's interesting. Oh my God, I do love Omega watches. The Gulf livery, the livery's original livery. Have you?
No, it's done as a Simo Lampinen car. And so this is a Thousand Lakes car, and when one of my friends went to Sweden, there's a museum there that Simo has a hand in, and when he showed him pictures of this car, Simo was absolutely delighted that somebody in Australia had built one. And you can see here is a picture of Simo, a tribute to me for building his car.
Simo is an amazing character. I've met him a number of times. He's still going strong. Well, not quite strong. He struggles a wee bit these days, but he's quite a character. I was told about 20 years ago about these. That's the first time I've seen a sign. Hukapalita. Do you know what that is? Nokia. What's Nokia known for? Nokia are known for... Right. Nokia Hukapalita was a type of tyre. Yeah, and I found out about that about 20 years ago. I've never seen one, I've never seen a sign. I had no idea how to spell it. That for me is a bit of a revelation.
Yes, well, some of these signs are, so they're taken, I call them internet builds, and so you find a livery that you want, and then you make it look exactly like that. And there's some signs, if we go back to the Volvo later, you'll see a sign on the front of the mudguard, and I had to get somebody from Kenya to tell me what it actually said.
Well, I think Nokia Hukapalita, I think it was a winter tyre. It's Uvascula, that is where Rally Finland used to be called Thousand Lakes, that's where it's based.
This round here is quite weird, and I had to find a Kenyan to tell me what it says, and it basically just says made in East Africa. And so again, how weird's that?
Joginder and Jaswant Singh.
Yes, the Singh brothers, and so they won the 1965 Safari Rally in this car.
Let's have a wee look. Are we going in through the door, or are we going in?
Look at the
Wow.
navigator.
So what have we got there? Trip meter?
We've got a twin master, and we've got a speed pilot, and we've got the Hua watches and the binnacle clock. So that's all the gear.
Are those Hoyer stopwatches?
Yes, absolutely.
Are those originals?
They are originals.
There are a few cars that have these, and they serve a proper purpose, don't they? You aren't just bouncing around for the sake of bouncing around. They're there to do a job when needed.
They're there to get you out of a bog, so you need a little bit of extra traction. And so, you know, the poor old co-driver, he gets out, climbs on the back of the car, and then he drives out of the bog. Now, he's not going to stop when, you know, you get to the end. He's going to dry land, and that might be a kilometre up the road.
And you're hanging on for dear life.
Hanging on for dear life. So here you are on the back of the car. You're trying to get it out of the bog.
For those of us who can't drive, I can't drive. Someone actually offered me one of their cars to drive today. I said no, because I know my limitations. I can talk, I can't drive. But it's as much fun. It's meeting rally people, it's meeting, you know, people that are interested in your cars. It's almost as much fun as actually driving them.
Absolutely, but we are going to get you down at the Alpine. We're going to get you into the Quattro. You can use it round the Speedway, and you know.
I'll sit in it, and I think you let me last time. Actually, last time we were at the Alpine, how many years ago? 3 years ago?
3 years ago, and you got to sit in it.
Yeah, no, I didn't just get to sit in it. He fired it up, and I got to press the throttle, and that was enough for me.
So yes, yeah, it's a pretty spectacular car. So it will be back again very soon.